The vast emptiness of space surrounded the Galactic Hegemony's monitoring station. Inside, Tejo stood before the large screen, his three-fingered hand pointing at an unusual energy pattern. The pattern came from a small blue planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. "Look at these readings," Tejo said to his team. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed excitement. "This signal pattern doesn't match anything in our database." Tejo had worked as the Hegemony's top intelligence analyst for over 200 years. In all that time, he had never seen anything like these signals from Earth. "It could be nothing," said his assistant Ju Wan, looking up from her datapad. "Maybe just random energy bursts from their sun." Tejo shook his head. "No. These signals show patterns. Patterns mean intelligence. And if they're sending signals this strong, they might be more advanced than we thought." The High Council chamber was filled with the 23 representatives of the galaxy's ruling species. They sat in tiered seats looking down at Tejo as he presented his findings. "The signals suggest they're developing faster than any species we've ever encountered," Tejo explained. "We should investigate before they become a problem." High Counselor Minji leaned forward. "Earth was classified as primitive just 50 years ago. They barely had space travel." "That's what worries me," said Tejo. "No species develops this quickly. It's not natural." After much debate, the Council agreed to send 5 ships to investigate. These weren't ordinary ships. They were the pride of the Hegemony fleet, with technology that could bend light around them, making them invisible to most sensors. Captain Han led the mission. He had fought in 3 galactic wars and had never lost a ship under his command. "We'll stay hidden, observe their planet, and report back," Han told his crew as they prepared to enter Earth's solar system. "No contact unless absolutely necessary." The 5 ships moved silently past the gas giants of the outer solar system. Captain Han noted how primitive the human outposts on Mars appeared. He felt certain this mission would be quick and boring. They passed the orbit of Jupiter. The ship's sensors detected something strange. "Captain, there's an energy field ahead," reported the sensor officer Jinho. "It's unlike anything I've seen before." Han frowned. "That's impossible. Our intelligence says they don't have this technology." "It's there, sir," insisted Jinho. "And it's growing." On the main screen they watched as a ripple seemed to spread across space in front of them. It wasn't visible to the eye, but the sensors showed it clearly, a wave of energy moving toward them. "Shields up," Han ordered. "Evasive action." But it was too late. The wave passed through their shields as if they weren't there. For a brief moment, everyone on the bridge felt a strange sensation, like being pulled in all directions at once. Then everything seemed normal again. "Damage report," Han called out. "No damage, sir," Jinho replied, looking confused. "But something's wrong with our location sensors. They say we're not in the same place anymore." Han looked at the view screen. The stars were in the wrong positions. Earth was nowhere to be seen. "Send a message to the Hegemony," Han ordered. "Tell them something's happened." But their communications couldn't reach the Hegemony. It was as if they were cut off from the rest of the universe. Back at Hegemony headquarters, alarm spread as all 5 ships vanished from their monitoring systems at exactly the same moment. "It's not possible," said High Counselor Minji, staring at the empty screens. "Those were our best ships." Tejo's face was grim. "This confirms my fears. The humans have technology far beyond what we believed." For 3 months, the Hegemony debated what to do. Some wanted to send a bigger fleet with more powerful weapons. Others wanted to stay away from Earth completely. In the end, they decided to send 10 ships, twice the number as before, with their newest shields and weapons. This fleet would be ready for whatever had happened to the first one. What they didn't know was that on Earth, Dr. Ha-Yun was watching her screens with great interest as the new fleet approached. "They're back," she said to her team. "And there are more of them this time." She pressed a button, and once again the quantum displacement field activated. On her screen, 10 alien ships vanished into another dimension, joining the 5 that were already there. "Now we'll see if they tried diplomacy instead of sneaking in," she said with a small smile. "Contact the president. Tell him Phase 2 has begun." Dr. Ha-Yun stared at the large screens covering the wall of the underground facility. Blue lines traced the paths of the alien ships that had just disappeared. She took a deep breath and turned to her team. Good work, everyone. The quantum displacement field worked perfectly again. The room was buried 2 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains. Few people knew it existed. Even fewer knew what happened there. The facility, codenamed Lighthouse, was Earth's first and last line of defense against alien threats. Ha-Yun walked to her desk and picked up her coffee mug. It was her 5th cup today. The aliens were becoming more persistent, and that worried her. Do you think they'll send more ships? Asked Ji-ho, her chief engineer. He was young but brilliant, with a talent for making complex technology work. They will, Ha-Yun replied. And next time they'll try something different. 5 years ago, Ha-Yun had been a professor teaching quantum physics. Then one day, men in dark suits came to her office. They showed her something that changed her. Life forever, proof that Earth was being watched by alien civilizations. The world's governments had known about aliens for decades. They had recovered technology from crashed scout ships and slowly reverse-engineered it. But they needed the best minds on Earth to develop defenses before the aliens realized humans were becoming a spacefaring species. Ji-ho walked over to another screen showing 10 alien ships floating in what looked like a bubble of distorted space. The ships are intact, he said. The aliens are in a kind of suspended animation. They don't even know they've been captured. That's the beauty of the quantum displacement field, Ha-Yun said. It doesn't harm them. It just moves them sideways in time and space. The technology Ha-Yun had helped develop didn't destroy the alien ships. Instead, it moved them into a pocket dimension, a bubble of reality separate from our own. Time moved differently there. For the aliens, only seconds would pass while months went by on Earth. We need to learn more about them, Ha-Yun said. Why are they so interested in Earth now? We've been broadcasting radio signals for over a century, but they only started coming in the last few years. At that moment, the facility's Director Kang, entered the room. His face was serious as always. The president wants an update, he said. The other world leaders are getting nervous. 15 alien ships in 5 months is not normal. Ha-Yun nodded. We're analyzing everything we can without making direct contact. Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as we feared. Their weapons could destroy cities, but not planets. And if they send 100 ships next time? Director Kang asked. The question hung in the air. Everyone knew the quantum displacement field required enormous energy. They couldn't capture an unlimited number of ships. Then we'll need to talk to them, Ha-Yun said simply. Later that night, Ha-Yun sat alone in her office. On her screen was an image taken from one of the captured alien ships. It showed beings with features both familiar and strange, 2 arms, 2 legs, but 3 fingers on each hand and large eyes that took up most of their faces. What do you want from us? She whispered to the image. Her computer beeped. A new alert appeared on her screen. The long-range sensors had detected something big entering the solar system. Ha-Yun quickly called Ji-ho. We have a situation. They're back sooner than we expected. Within minutes, the team was gathered around the main display. This time it wasn't 5 ships or 10. It was a single, massive vessel, and it was broadcasting on all frequencies. They're sending a message, said the communications specialist Sun-Hai. It appears to be in thousands of different languages. One of them is English. What does it say? Ha-Yun asked. Sun-Hai looked up from her screen. It says, We come in peace. Please return our people. Ha-Yun looked at Director Kang. It seems they want to talk after all. Director Kang nodded slowly. I'll inform the president. We may need to prepare for first contact. As Ha-Yun looked back at the screen, she wondered if humanity was ready to meet its galactic neighbors. And she wondered if the aliens knew the terrifying truth, that humans had learned to bend reality itself to protect their home. The grand chamber of the Hegemony Council fell silent as the news spread. 15 ships, their most advanced vessels, had vanished without a trace near the small blue planet. High Counselor Do-hyun stood at the center of the circular room, his four clawed hands gripping the edge of the speaking podium. "This cannot continue," he said, his voice echoing across the chamber. "We have lost contact with 15 ships and over 3,000 crew members." The representatives of 23 spacefaring species murmured among themselves. Some showed signs of fear, others anger. The loss of so many ships was unprecedented in the hegemony's 10,000-year history. General Sang-min stepped forward. Unlike most military leaders, he was known for careful thinking rather than bold action. His scaled skin reflected the chamber's blue light as he addressed the council. "The humans have technology we don't understand," he said. "Our ships didn't send distress signals. They simply disappeared. This suggests the humans can manipulate space itself." "Impossible," said Science Minister Jun Seo. "Our analysis shows they only achieved basic space travel 70 years ago. No species develops that quickly." "Unless," General Sang-min said quietly, "they had help." The chamber erupted in shouted questions and accusations. Some council members suggested that a rival power must be supporting the humans. Others wondered if an ancient, thought-extinct species had returned. High Counselor Do-hyun raised his hands for silence. "We need facts, not theories. We must make contact with these humans." Ambassador Yoon-ki had been watching silently from his seat. He was older than most in the chamber, with over 400 years of diplomatic experience. He stood slowly. "We'll go," he said simply. "One ship. Open communication. No weapons." "Too dangerous," General Sang-min objected. "We should send a full battle fleet." Ambassador Yoon-ki smiled gently. "And lose more ships?" "No. If the humans wanted to destroy us, they would have done so already. The fact that our ships vanish rather than explode suggests they want to avoid bloodshed." After hours of debate, the council agreed. They would send a diplomatic mission led by Ambassador Yoon-ki. His ship would travel openly, broadcasting peaceful intentions in all known languages. As Yoon-ki prepared for the mission, he studied everything the hegemony knew about humans. It wasn't much. Their biology seemed unremarkable. 2 arms, 2 legs, limited lifespan. Their history showed constant warfare but also remarkable creativity. They had moved from primitive flight to space travel in less than a century. "They're like children," his assistant Mireille said as they reviewed the data. "Brilliant but unpredictable." "Sometimes children see solutions adults miss," Yoon-ki replied thoughtfully. The diplomatic vessel, painted white as a universal symbol of peace, left the hegemony's central worlds 3 days later. It would take 2 weeks to reach Earth's solar system. Yoon-ki spent the time preparing hundreds of possible first contact scenarios. As they passed the outer planets of the solar system, Yoon-ki felt a mix of excitement and fear. No one knew what had happened to the previous ships. Would his fate be the same? "We're receiving a transmission," announced the communications officer, Dae-jung. "It's in our language. Perfect syntax." Yoon-ki was shocked. How could the humans know the hegemony's official language? The message was simple. "Welcome, Ambassador Yoon-ki. Please maintain your current course. One ship may approach Earth. Your escort vessels must remain at their current position." The bridge crew looked at Yoon-ki in stunned silence. The humans knew his name. They knew details of their mission that had been decided just days ago. "How is this possible?" asked Captain Soo-jin. "Could they have spies in the hegemony?" Yoon-ki considered this as he stared at the small blue planet on the view screen. "No," he said finally. "I believe they've been studying the ships they captured. They've learned our language, our protocols, everything." "What should we do?" Captain Soo-jin asked. "We do as they ask," Yoon-ki decided. "The escort ships will remain here. We will continue alone." As the diplomatic vessel separated from its escorts and moved toward Earth, Yoon-ki felt a strange sensation, a ripple in space around them. For a moment, he feared they too would vanish. Instead, a new message appeared. "Your ship is now connected to our translation system. We look forward to meeting you, Ambassador. Welcome to Earth." Ambassador Yoon-ki's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere. From space, the planet had seemed peaceful. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green-brown land masses. But as they got closer, Yunki saw massive cities spread across the continents, their lights glowing even in daylight. Their development is remarkable, he said to Captain Sujin. Look at those structures. The ship followed the guidance signals to a location on the southern ice continent. As they approached, a large section of ice slid open, revealing a hidden facility below. They're directing us underground, Captain Sujin said with concern in her voice. We came this far, Yunki replied calmly. We must trust them now. The ship landed in a vast hangar. Through the viewports, they could see humans in white uniforms moving with purpose. The airlock indicators showed that the atmosphere was safe for their species. Remember, Yunki told his small team, we represent the entire hegemony. Our actions here will shape relations for centuries to come. When the ship's door opened, Yunki was the first to step out. A group of humans waited a respectful distance away. At their center stood a female with short black hair and intelligent eyes. Ambassador Yunki, she said in perfect hegemony speech. I am Dr. Ha-Yun, Director of Earth's First Contact Division. Welcome to Antarctica Base. Yunki performed the traditional greeting gesture of his species, a slight bow with his right hand over his chest. To his surprise, Ha-Yun returned the gesture perfectly. You know our customs, he said. We've had time to study your people, Ha-Yun replied. Please follow me. She led them through corridors lined with technology that looked both familiar and strange. In some ways, it seemed more advanced than hegemony tech, in others more primitive. It was as if human technology had developed along a completely different path. They entered a conference room with a large window overlooking another hangar. What Yunki saw there made him freeze in shock. Below them were the missing hegemony ships, all 15 of them arranged in neat rows. Your people are safe, Ha-Yun said, noting his reaction. They experience time differently where they are. For them, only minutes have passed. How is this possible? Yunki asked. Even the hegemony cannot manipulate time and space this way. Ha-Yun smiled. Perhaps we should start at the beginning. Over the next few hours, Ha-Yun explained how humans had discovered quantum displacement technology almost by accident. A scientist named Ji Ho had been working on an energy storage system when he found that energy could be shifted slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. We didn't build weapons, Ha-Yun said. We built bubbles, safe spaces where we could observe potential threats without harming them. But why hide from the galaxy? Yunki asked. The hegemony includes hundreds of peaceful species. A new human entered the room, older, with a serious face. Because not all species are peaceful, he said. I am Director Kang. 20 years ago, we captured a scout ship from a species not part of your hegemony. They were planning an invasion. Ha-Yun nodded. We learned about the wider galaxy from them. We decided to develop defenses before making ourselves known. Yunki felt a chill. Outside the hegemony's protected space were species known for conquest. The humans had been wise to be cautious. Will you release our ships? He asked. Of course, Ha-Yun said. That was always the plan. We just needed to understand your intentions first. Later, Yunki was given a tour of the facility. What impressed him most was not the technology, but the diversity of the humans working there. Unlike the specialized roles in hegemony society, humans seemed adaptable to many different tasks. Your species is unique, he told Ha-Yun, as they watched engineers working on what appeared to be a faster-than-light drive unlike any he had seen before. You developed in isolation without guidance. Is that unusual? Ha-Yun asked. Very, Yunki replied. Most species in the galaxy were discovered and mentored by older civilizations. You evolved naturally. Ha-Yun considered this. Perhaps that's why we think differently. We had to solve every problem ourselves. As they continued their tour, Yunki began to understand that the humans weren't just another species to add to the hegemony. They were something the galaxy had never seen before. On the third day of negotiations, Ambassador Yunki and Dr. Ha-Yun walked across the Antarctic ice field. Despite the bitter cold, they had both wanted to speak away from the listening ears. of their teams. The white landscape stretched endlessly around them, broken only by the distant outline of the base. "Tomorrow we will release your ships and crews," Ha-Un said, her breath forming clouds in the freezing air. "They will remember nothing of their time here." Yun-Ki nodded. "The Hegemony Council is eager to establish formal relations with Earth. They see great potential in trade and cultural exchange." Ha-Un stopped walking and turned to face him. "But you have concerns." The alien ambassador looked up at the clear blue sky. "In my 400 years, I have helped bring 17 new species into the hegemony. Each time I could predict how they would fit in, what roles they would play in our shared future. And with humans? With humans, I cannot predict anything," Yun-Ki admitted, "and that terrifies the council." They resumed walking. The crunching of snow under their feet was the only sound for several minutes. "There is something you should see," Ha-Un finally said. "Something we have not shown to any outsider." That afternoon they boarded a small aircraft that took them to another facility hidden beneath the ice. This one was older, with signs of hasty construction and outdated equipment. 20 years ago, as we told you, we captured a scout ship," Ha-Un explained as they walked through dimly lit corridors. "What we didn't tell you was that it wasn't the first alien contact." She led him into a secure vault. Inside was a small spacecraft, clearly ancient. Its design was unlike anything in the hegemony records. "This crashed on Earth 10,000 years ago," Ha-Un said, "long before humans had any advanced technology. Inside were data crystals containing scientific knowledge beyond anything we could understand at the time." "You're saying your rapid development was helped by this?" "Yes," Ha-Un finished, "but not in the way you think. For thousands of years, the crystals sat in ancient temples, thought to be religious objects. It wasn't until 50 years ago that we developed technology advanced enough to read them." Yun-Ki studied the ship with growing unease. "Who built it?" "We don't know. The crystals contain no historical information, only scientific formulas and concepts. But there was one message repeated over and over in mathematical code." Ha-Un touched a control panel and a holographic display appeared above the ship. Symbols flowed across it, resolving into words in the hegemony language. "Beware the devourers. They come from beyond the stars. We believe whoever left this ship was running from something," Ha-Un said quietly. "Something that may still be out there." Later that day, the Earth Security Council met with Yun-Ki to discuss terms for joining the galactic community. Humans would share some of their unique technologies while keeping others secret. The hegemony would help Earth establish colonies on nearby star systems. As the meeting ended, Council Leader Su-bin addressed the elephant in the room. "Ambassador, you now understand why we were cautious. Why we had to test the intentions of those who approached our world." Yun-Ki nodded. "The terrifying truth is not your technology. It's that you developed it for defense against a threat even the hegemony doesn't recognize." "There's more," Ha-Un said. "Show him, Jiho." The young engineer activated a display, showing hundreds of stars. "These are systems where we've detected energy signatures similar to the ancient ship, all at the edges of known space." "Someone else survived," Yun-Ki whispered. "And they may need allies," Su-bin added. "The hegemony has 23 species with thousands of years of shared history. Humans have survived alone. Both approaches have strengths. Together, we might face whatever is coming." The next day, as promised, the 15 hegemony ships were released from the quantum bubbles. Their crews remembered nothing of their capture. As far as they knew, they had just arrived at Earth. 1 month later, Earth became the 24th member of the galactic hegemony. The announcement sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Many species feared the unpredictable humans. Others were curious about their strange ideas and technologies. Standing on the lunar surface looking at Earth glowing blue in the black sky, Yun-Ki remarked to Ha-Un, "Your people are terrifying, not because you're dangerous, but because you make the impossible seem inevitable." Ha-Un smiled. "That's our greatest strength. When faced with something that can't be done, humans don't listen to impossible." Together, they watched as the first joint human hegemony defense fleet assembled in orbit. preparing for whatever might come from beyond the stars.